Give me 2 seconds.
I don't have YouTube notifications on, so I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think I would get them. So now it's officially recorded. So if you came across a YouTube podcast like this, where they were talking about their own league, would you watch it? Mm-hmm. It's got to be more informative and helpful than someone just talking about their own team without any of the context.
All right. Hey, how's the audio feedback from my speakers? Is that going to be a problem? Or
It honestly it sounded better the second ago. I don't know if you changed anything
I went from my
before you
webcam, from my
before you
headphones to
turned
my
the
webcam,
webcam
so I'll
on.
switch back.
It sounded a lot better before. And this is we're streaming to YouTube, so calm down on the normal racist stuff that you say, Colin. So we're being broadcast right now.
Sweet. I'm going to be world famous.
Yeah, it sounds a lot better. That sounds good. I like that. Just do the three of us, and then just have the three of us again behind the screen. That was cool.
Just layered tile after tile. It's
And
been
the
a minute.
last one was whenever Eddie came to visit, because whenever I go to my subscriptions on YouTube, that's the first video on. Because I always think, what channel is this? Because it's an interesting name, your channel name.
I feel like the last time I was on, I think I repeatedly jumped into the wrong feed. If that makes sense. I think that's why I was confused when I was getting set up. It's like, I did something wrong last time. Let me call Jordan to make sure I don't do it again. So.
Hello? Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I'm glad I caught that before we got too far in. So, people who are listening on the recording, sorry, I just got my audio working. Maybe you guys can talk for a minute and I can see.
Yeah, I'm getting Sleeper pulled up so I can have
Yeah,
references
definitely.
for our conversations.
Oh, good. Well, maybe we should talk about everybody because, everybody wants to. Well, I don't know if everybody's going to listen. I always question that. I'm not sure how many people actually listen, but maybe 10 people do. I don't know. Something like that.
10 out of 14. That's not bad. So it seems like from free agency, the death of the running back position was exaggerated to say the least.
The death of the running back contracts and they got paid, which is good. So yeah, we can start there if we want. We can start free agency. Free agency was
so got the running back contracts pulled up. So for Saquon Barkley signing with the Eagles, so I think it's So it's reported. These are just the reported numbers. So 3 years, 37.5 million. I think was 2 years guaranteed. Was it like 20 something million guaranteed?
That
Yeah.
sounds right.
I don't know, but he got some guaranteed money for
I
sure.
think it was more than the first year that was guaranteed. So a couple months ago, you traded for Rashee Rice straight up with Saquon Barkley.
Straight up.
Do you think Barkley has gained value since then?
Yeah, I think he's
didn't
gained a
get
little
boosted.
value for sure. Like you can't ask for a much better position than that compared to some of the other spots. Like
Maybe
what if he went to like Tennessee? You know, like that's not that
The
exciting.
Texans. I think the Texans would be the only place that I'd be
Yeah,
more excited.
or the
about.
Packers.
or Dallas. If they had gone after him.
Yeah, if Dallas had gone after him, maybe. I don't know. I don't trust Dallas anymore in
No,
terms of
absolutely not.
running back
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah,
I think basically the amazing offensive line balances out the fact that Hurts doesn't throw to the running back, and maybe Barkley
vultures.
doesn't get runs at the one.
Yeah, but I think the
That's
difference
the
is gonna. I think the difference is gonna be Saquon is like good enough to run through contact and get a touchdown, you know, and they haven't had that with
They won't have
Swift.
as many runs from the one because Swift would fall down.
Yeah, exactly. Swift
Like
Swift
10
was
times.
classic. He would fall down all the time.
And I think this takes some pressure off of Hurts.
Yeah.
Having a running back like that can handle the goal line stuff. I think they've been talking about reducing his wear and tear for the last couple of years. And I think if they don't, they're going to run into problems down the line.
Yeah, I think. I think it's a great landing spot. I think it's one of the best landing spots that could have happened, and we'll see how the Eagles' offense does. You know, I think was it Kellen Moore is now the OC, so it'll be really interesting to see if they change things up, which I think they have to. I mean, after watching last year, it was not good, and really just like watching the Eagles made me realize like, oh gosh, their coaching, like not much changed personnel wise, and they still like couldn't figure it out. And is it like
their entire assistant coaching staff?
Right. Yeah. Well, I think that's what I'm saying. It's just like, yeah, the coaching staff was a big deal, and you don't realize how big coaching comes into play into fantasy football. Like you think, oh, these guys are gold, you know, like they're gonna score a ton of points for fantasy, and well, you know, sometimes coaching can get in the way of that. So hopefully they do a little better this year with that, and not so one dimensional. I mean, AJ Brown got his, Hurts got his. Definitely not as like amazing seasons as they had before.
As the Devontae owner, I'm excited for change.
Yeah, you got to be excited for change as a Devontae owner. And then Saquon's just gonna open things up. But yeah, that was probably the biggest. I don't know. There's a couple.
Well, the most shocking was the Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs.
Yeah. So I was sweating for a little bit. It's like, what is going on? Am I gonna have Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs? First of all, if they both played on the same team, that team would be amazing. I just want to say that.
Yeah, it'd be like if AJ Dillon was good at football.
Right, exactly. It's just like replace AJ Dillon with somebody who can actually play football. Like, oh my gosh. But then Aaron Jones chases the money because they probably couldn't pay him much, to be honest, and he's old. So,
well, I wonder what the pay cut they offered was, because I think he was due to get $10 million on the contract he renegotiated for this year, and then got 7. It was either 6 or 7 from Minnesota.
I mean,
yeah.
What was Dillon on before he was released?
I think he was a second-round pick, so it would have just been whatever his
rookie contract.
final year of his contract was. So, like 2.5 to 3, I think, something like that, probably.
Yeah, and so, like, I'm super excited about the Josh Jacobs landing spot. I think it couldn't be better for him besides maybe Texans or I don't even know. Like, Eagles or Packers, like I like the Packers offense. It looks great. And you put a competent, healthy, hopefully Josh Jacobs there.
Well, Jacobs doesn't really matter if he's healthy. He's going to play anyway.
He's going to play anyway, hurt. And yeah, you got to think that, just watching the Raiders last year was painful. And I don't know if it was going to get any better. I don't know if it is going to get any better for them this year. And so I think he's going to a better situation. It's hard to project these things, but obviously, I mean, the Packers were on a heater at the end of the year. But what's crazy about it is they were on a heater, a large part to Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones was a big part of that.
They got a lot better once Aaron Jones came back from injury.
Right. So we'll see how that goes down.
Have they made any offensive line moves?
I don't really know. I haven't really paid much attention to their transactions. I know they haven't done much.
That could be a big question mark for them.
Well, it's the same line they had last year.
Well, I think they've. I mean, I think 2 people have left.
But Bakhtiari has played like 2 games in the last 2 years.
Wasn't there somebody else though? Or is that?
I don't know if it was one of their starters though.
Okay. That's going to be a big thing. I mean, I think I wouldn't be surprised to see them address that in the draft, especially with,
if you've got wide receivers and quarterbacks, just take all the offensive linemen you can get. That's what I would do.
Yeah. But I guess Aaron Jones to the Vikings is an interesting one. He's the guy there, but like Ty Chandler's pretty good, I think, or at least serviceable. And that offense is currently led by Sam Darnold. And I don't know about you guys, but Twitter keeps throwing a Justin Jefferson to X team trade at me pretty frequently. I don't know why they do that, but maybe they just feel like they're going to be so bad that they want to bottom out or something. But
well, I don't think it would even be. I don't know. Would you rather have Justin Jefferson at $30 million or T. Higgins at $25 million and a first-round pick?
Yeah, I think Justin Jefferson. I think I would take the generational player.
Hopefully I don't know. He doesn't die on the vine there, though.
Yeah. Well, they need a quarterback. I guess they might be trading up for McCarthy.
Maybe they still need
they probably still need a quarterback after that.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, is McCarthy worth the 11 pick? Yeah.
I don't even know if he is.
But he might go earlier.
He's
gonna go. I think he's gonna go earlier.
Yeah.
5 years ago, he would have been like a mid-second round pick, 3rd round pick. The move that the NFL has made in the last few years to just not overvalue, but just reach on quarterbacks has been insane to me.
Yeah.
And I think they're taking guys in the first that could they work out in a couple of years if they sit behind somebody? Possibly, but and I guess when they changed the rookie salary pyramid or however you want to describe it, that really allowed people to just gamble like that. Previously, they didn't want to risk that money, but I don't know. It's kind of taking something out of the draft for me. It's not as fun. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, QBs haven't had the best track record lately. Which is pretty wild. You look at the draft. Obviously, CJ Stroud was a big hit, but you look at the draft of like Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. I think Mac Jones. That whole draft, man, rough hit rate. Bryce Young lately, last draft didn't do so hot. And then of course, like the Kenny Pickett draft is like whatever. I mean, there's literally no one in that draft class who's was touted highly. So, but yeah, it's just been a while since QB's really hit. Besides Stroud, and everyone's going crazy over Stroud. I mean, you look at the value at keep trade cut. I think Lewis, you brought this up. Like, what pick would you trade for Stroud, even in like a 1 QB league? And I think Colin, you showed today like that keep trade cut. When you first opened it up, it was Tyreek Hill and Drake London and CJ Stroud, like in a 1 QB league, who are you taking? That's wild. Like if you think about last year during the drafts, like where was Stroud taken? Like the middle of the second round.
6.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
But I would still take those 2 receivers over any quarterback.
Yeah, I mean Drake London could explode this year, and Tyreek has continually provided tons of fantasy.
How many years does he have left on his contract?
This
2, I think.
Tyreek Hill 2, yeah.
Mm-hmm. This year and next year.
Okay. He hasn't had any major injuries in the last few years.
No, but
he learned how to fix his hamstrings.
Yeah, the last couple weeks of the fantasy season, he was not so great, which was annoying, but it happens. But yeah, anyway, QBs have been really mostly miss lately. I feel like the rookie QBs. So
yeah, Trevor Lawrence has been serviceable,
fine,
but
but not the generational talent people thought he'd be.
Yeah,
not what you would expected for the best. I mean, he was the best prospect since Andrew Luck. Like, there's no doubt about him as far as prospect goes.
Yeah.
Imagine our league if Luck was still around.
He should be.
He'd
I think
be
he's 34. Something.
That sounds right. He would.
He's in the 20. Yeah, I think he's 2012 draft class, so I think he'd be 34.
Imagine having him in Dynasty and waking up that morning and getting that notification. You think you're set for the next 8 years,
right?
And then your QB1's gone.
All right, so I want to talk more running backs because we were talking free agency.
Yeah,
I think there's one team. Yeah, I was about to say, let's talk about Bryce's team because he has. We kind of talked about my team with those guys like Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones. I'm trying to think if anybody else was. I mean, Mostert didn't do anything. Oh, Spears, but well, we can get to him later. I think we start with Derrick Henry, like you said. That was a big one. So
Bryce's team is very interesting. He's got, is it 4? 3. 3 are going to be really good running backs next year. The year after that, he could have 0. But interestingly, he's got 3 good running backs for next year. Plenty of wide receivers to play next year. The best or second best fantasy quarterback. The guy that was the best fantasy tight end for the last 10 weeks of the season last year.
Yeah. Njoku.
Who we'll have to see how he performs with Watson.
Yeah, I mean, I like everything that happened for Bryce's team as far as
Could he have had a better offseason? I don't think he could have.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't like the Swift to Chicago move.
He's got 2 Bears that he's starting now, which is always a little dangerous with Swift and Keenan Allen.
With a rookie QB.
With a rookie QB, but it looks like a dynamite offense. I do want to talk about Chicago for a minute. I mean, what a crazy offseason that they had, and they finally capped it off with the Justin Fields trade, making it clear what they're doing, right? Like they're going Caleb Williams or I don't know, Jake Daniels, Drake May, probably not. I think they're going Caleb.
I'd love for them to not take Caleb Williams.
Yeah, but I think that's going to happen. But look at what situation they have set up that rookie QB with. Like, can you guys think of a better situation for a rookie quarterback ever?
I mean, only retrospectively, the Texans situation looks good now. But at this time last year, it'd be like, man, I mean, they were supposed to be the worst team in the league, even after they drafted Stroud.
Yeah.
Maybe Roethlisberger?
Yeah, and I'm just
15-1 his first year.
I'm just thinking that's probably Roethlisberger. It's a good.
I'm trying to think back, going further. I mean, of any like QB that's actually stuck around.
Did Luck have T.Y. Hilton when he first started, or even? Am I wrong? I don't even know.
Who was the guy before? He was the guy Reggie. I think he had Reggie Wayne.
He had Reggie Wayne. He had old man Reggie Wayne at that point.
And probably Andre Johnson at that point.
Probably Andre Johnson, yeah.
I forgot he didn't. I forgot he played seasons away from the Texans.
But I guess
he went to the Tennessee to die.
I guess
as wide receivers do. Sorry, Zach.
Yeah. So CJ Stroud comes into a situation where there's not a wide receiver we're like super excited about.
No.
I think people like Nico Collins, but before
He was a 3rd round pick, and I mean now we know that he had never played with a quarterback that was good.
Right, yeah. Or like Tank Dell, like no one was hyping up. Like there was hype for Tank Dell, but it was just like this dude's tiny. There's no way he's gonna succeed in the NFL.
It was like tongue-in-cheek hype.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, oh yeah, cool. Like let's see him do something.
308 in our league, 309.
That's what I was just about to pull up where he went, because I feel like I passed on him.
309, yeah.
But I guess my point is, like Stroud comes in, and now it looks like a great situation, but he made it a great situation. So
I think everyone together. Like I think Bryce Young would have been a lot better if he'd gone to the Texans than the Panthers. And I don't think the Panthers. I think the Panthers still would have been terrible with CJ Stroud.
Coaching. I'm telling you, coaching is a big part of this too. Coaching is a big part of it.
And I mean, not even just coaching, just organizational leadership and everything. The Panthers are terribly run organization.
But yeah, it's anyway. I was talking about the Bears, and I feel like the Bears are turning it around. Eddie's probably excited about this year. We'll see what happens.
About Justin Fields, isn't he?
I think he probably is. I don't really know.
He's one of the Justin Fields truthers.
He had like a cryptic text or two about how
the Bears still got more for Justin Fields than he did when he traded him away. So I don't know why he's mad.
I was looking back. I think I've traded for Fields like 5 times. It's been a roller coaster. But yeah, I really do think that this Bears offense is going to contend this year with anybody, and as long as that rookie QB comes in as like serviceable, you've got DJ Moore. We saw what DJ Moore did for Justin Fields, right? Like he's there, plus Keenan Allen, who just gets open. Like he's old, but he just gets open. Like that is. We were just talking about Bryce Young. Like if he even had one of those, that would have been nice. He has old man Adam Thielen, who managed to earn targets, I suppose, and had like a decent, start to the season. He was kind of hot there for a while, but he was the only show in town. But yeah,
his legs.
It's a great situation for whoever comes in there, and it's going to make them really enticing. If they draft Caleb, like I don't know where he goes.
They've got 9 too.
Yeah, and then could they go Neighbors?
Another offensive lineman. And there are a lot of mocks, one of the top 3 wide receivers is still there at 9 too. So
I really don't think they're gonna go wide receiver. I would like to believe
not after trading for Keenan.
Right. Yeah. Like I would think they would want to go offensive line, because it's been.
I don't know. How many years do you guys think Keenan Allen actually has left?
I think he's 30 or 31.
I mean, he's probably got 2 good years left in him. Before he's. I don't know. He keeps playing well, so like I don't want to count him out yet.
And he's not somebody that's just relied on his speed and things like that. But if you've got a chance to take a Neighbors and pair him up with Allen and DJ Moore, let him learn, let him not actually take some pressure off of him.
That'd be a sick offense for sure. But yeah,
I'm sure they'll go offensive line or defense.
Yeah,
they could trade back.
They're gonna need. They still need offensive line. They still need. I think they need maybe another corner. But yeah, we'll see what they do. But I feel like after watching so many Bears games last year, I'm like a closet Bears fan at this point. So I'm just excited about them, and hope they do well. Anyway. So running backs, we talked a little bit about Bryce's team. Derrick Henry, big signing with the Ravens. Derrick Henry with Lamar Jackson, pretty wild pairing. I just can't I can't imagine it not working. I
think Henry could have 400 yards and 18 touchdowns.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I heard
I mean,
some.
Gus Edwards had 13 last year.
Yes, yes. This is what I was about to say. Is like, okay, do we just pencil him in for whatever Gus Edwards had plus some more, like easily?
500 more yards.
Yeah. Perfect situation. Hopefully Keaton Mitchell is healthy at some point because like he would be a very good foil for Henry. Completely different skill set.
That's somebody I'd forgotten about. I don't really. That's not a name I've registered in the off season.
Yeah, is that
Sure,
Miss
that's
Bucks
Or
team?
ACL.
Yeah, I think he's. Yeah, I think he's on the Miss Bucks team.
And then to put a bow on Bryce's team, doesn't show up on free agency because it was a trade, but then Joe Mixon going to the Texans.
So he goes to the prize spot that everybody else was kind of like, oh, okay, who's going to go to the Texans? That's the winning spot. Now, I will say it does feel a little lateral in terms of like Bengals to Texans because both those offenses are very good. The Bengals just haven't had Burrow, and so I think we've kind of forgotten like what a good offense, like a really good offense, looks like from the Bengals.
Yeah, I think the scheme fit with the Texans is better. I think they do a lot more outside zone than whatever that means than the Bengals do. Which apparently is what Joe Mixon's really good at.
Well, there you go. The Texans are just a well-run organization, right? Can we just say that? Like, I feel like they're right now. I feel like whatever they're doing right now is working.
I mean, they chose not to sign Deshaun Watson.
They chose not to sign Deshaun. They got a great coach and then they bet on themselves and traded their pick, and their defense is actually serviceable. Like, pretty crazy turnaround for that franchise.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Cardinals would rather have Will Anderson than the 27th pick in this year's draft.
Absolutely. So Bryce gets those running backs. Eckler goes to the Commanders. We'll see what happens.
Last year either. He doesn't have him this year.
Yeah.
That's not going to be anything.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. It depends on how the rookie QB does. You never know. Eckler could be a safety valve, but Brian Robinson is going to be, a big competition for him. But at least that pairing makes sense. At least that makes sense. You get the big bruiser with the pass catching running back. Like someone thought that through.
Gibson too.
Yes, it did. It did.
Gibson can't hold on to the ball.
Right.
And I say that as the guy that just traded for him. Jordan, quick question, just because mentioning Keaton Mitchell kind of sparked something in my head. Who would you rather have? And I'm looking at Keep Trade Cut right now. Keaton Mitchell or Justin Fields?
Mitchell's pretty exciting. But he did just tear his ACL, so it kind of depends on the team. But
they're currently players 148 and 149 on Keep Trade Cut.
I think I would probably take Mitchell in most cases, but that's just me from the explosive.
Mitchell was the UDFA that just tore his ACL.
Yeah, he's really good. And he put up
fast.
He's really fast.
They have no investment in him.
Yeah. Well, they don't have any investment in him, but I think he's going to be a thing there. I don't know. It's a tough call. I like both players.
If I had Mitchell, I would trade him for Justin Fields. And I don't like Justin Fields. But I also traded him for like $10 in Fab last year, so I'm not good at this.
Yes.
You never take my low Fab deals, and I don't appreciate that. I've offered you more than that for players.
Well, yeah, but I got Keaton Mitchell off the waiver wire.
It's easy to think that's like free money, and then it's like I'm gonna trade him for something and get something for him. When you get someone.
I'm not sure I've made a Fab claim since we've switched to Dynasty.
Yeah, that Fab has kind of died.
It's been pretty rough. Yeah,
it's pretty rough. The waiver wire used to be like something I would wake up for and be like, oh my gosh, what did I get? Like, that kind of deal. But now I don't even think about it at all.
I think it's gonna get better as we go along.
Yeah. People will have to drop people, like maybe Zach will have to drop someone eventually because he has a million players.
All of Zach's players are actually good.
Right.
At least all of Zach's players are rosterable by everybody,
Yeah.
which I don't think anyone else can say.
No, I don't think anybody else can say.
Yeah.
People
I
have
don't
some
know.
bad players on their team.
No, I've still got Valdez Scantling, so I can't say that.
Yep. My taxi squad has some fun people on it. I think Darren Waller's about to retire, so that also
might be.
Oh, is that what's coming through?
I think so.
I heard rumors.
He's
of it.
unsure about it.
Yeah.
So can Bryce even tear it down anymore?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I feel like this is a good pivot. Talk about like what Bryce's future holds. If I were him, I'm holding steady with this team. I mean, if we look at his squad, he's got Diggs, Pittman, Mike Evans, and Keenan Allen as his wide receivers. That screams win now, other than Pittman, right?
I think he could have snaked all of those deals that Matt Akridge did.
Yeah.
But those deals are done now.
They're all gone. There's no firsts out there for him.
Well, and I tried.
Did you?
I've had conversations with Bryce over a couple of different assets, not all running backs.
Mm-hmm.
But as I say in the truck business, he's very proud of his players and values them very highly, and makes it difficult to try and get a deal done. But if you want what you want, you'll hold out. I mean, he could, and that's the kind of a problem when I started tearing down after you did. I ran into this problem of what deals are really out there, even with I guess 27 picks that will come available
after the draft
or the day of our draft.
Yeah,
so you have to really wait to do anything until then to really try and chase major assets from anybody.
Yep. Yeah, that'll be fun. I bet there's going to be a flurry of trades this year after the draft. I think there's going to be a lot because there's a lot of people making moves. I feel like so.
I'm over here trying to make moves while we talk.
Good.
Yeah, I think we'll have more trades during the draft this year too. Maybe.
Hopefully that'll be really fun. Yeah, Bryce is really set up. God, I didn't want to spend so much time talking about Bryce on this. And we really have.
He really did win the offseason.
He did.
This also could have broken him if these running back contracts go a different way.
Absolutely.
If Henry chases the money somewhere else, or Mixon, I don't know. I guess he could have ended up in a different spot, but there weren't too many. I don't know if he was a sought after asset.
Like if he landed in Minnesota or the Raiders.
I mean, all these players, all these teams could still draft rookies.
Yeah, so that's the other piece of the puzzle, right? We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Does Houston draft a rookie after they just give him the extension?
It's not a real extension. It's $12 million guaranteed. They just did the extension to spread that $12 million out over 3 years.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. So we'll see what the rookie running back class does. I mean, I feel like the Cowboys are a shoo-in for a running back.
Cowboys and Chargers.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe not the Raiders now, but come on, it's Alexander Madison.
I know. Zamir White truthers were in shambles when they saw Alexander Madison signing.
Okay.
But okay, so the other free agency signing that actually impacted me was Tony Pollard going to the Titans, which was a big surprise. After watching Spears all this time, it's like, man, this guy plays like Tony Pollard in here.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. You should get Spears shouldn't be the only running back in Tennessee.
Agreed.
But get someone that's different.
That's why I kept, bringing that up about like, okay, Eckler and Brian Robinson or Keaton Mitchell and Derrick Henry, or like you mix the styles. I feel like with the running backs you roster, but they're going the like smaller. Who's gonna get the ball at the 1 yard line? Is it Tony Pollard? I guess. Is it Will Levis? Will Levis
is definitely bigger than both of them.
Yeah, you just let Will Levis
30
run
pounds.
Yeah.
It's all the mayo.
But I do like what they've done. I like what the Titans have done. They have money. might as well spend it and put together a team and see what Levis can do. I get really frustrated.
They have an offensive coach now, so we're gonna like them more.
Yeah, we're gonna like them a lot more. Like compare their offseason to the Patriots offseason, right? Like, what did the Patriots do this year? They just tried to get rid of money. That's it.
And
Jacoby
don't they
Brissett better than
have a buttload of free cap space
Yeah,
that they just
they have
didn't
a lot.
spend?
not yet.
After their new coach came out in his press conference and said we're going to spend like mad, and then retracted it like the next day.
It's just boring. They're just
Patriot
like
way.
they're like admitting defeat, and they're like, we're gonna be bad, so like let's just be really really bad. And I don't love that. But I don't know. We'll see what happens to the Titans. They might regret some of the signings here in a year or two.
I don't know. I think if they hadn't had a coaching change, obviously Pollard probably doesn't happen. But I wasn't surprised that they went after him. I also am not surprised that he showed interest, and I wonder if he, what other contracts he had offered. But I mean, he's now playing 3 hours from his hometown. He's originally from Memphis, so much
Right.
easier for his parents to get over there and stuff like that. So it'll be pretty interesting. I know that some of my buddies that are Titans fans, who are not necessarily Memphis fans, were pretty hyped about that signing.
Yeah, there is a little sentimental value having him there. Anyway, I can't think of really too many other running back signings that are.
Yeah, I think there are some, but I don't think anything else that's impactful. So, Edmondson, I've got a quiz for you.
All right, let's see.
So I have the league power rankings pulled up on Keep Trade Cut for our league.
Yeah.
And I have it sorted by starters only.
Okay.
Can you name the top 6 teams that Keep Trade Cut has when they're ranked only by the starters?
You want the top? I don't know if I can get them in specific order.
No,
but,
don't worry about order. But just the people that, according to this metric, are most likely to make the playoffs.
Bryce is definitely there.
Nope.
He's not. Bryce is not. They don't think his starters will get him there?
Nope.
Okay, well then this throws everything off.
Bryce is remember this is based on dynasty value.
Yeah.
You got to keep that in mind.
I guess you're right. So not most likely to make the playoffs, but just dynasty value based on their starters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dynasty value. It's very different.
Let's see. Probably Zach is in there.
Zach is number 2.
Okay, so that gives me an idea. Chase.
Chase is number 1.
Yeah.
CD Lamb and Jalen Hurts that helps. Jalen Hurts is the
Well,
quarterback 5. That's interesting.
He's also got. I mean, his running back room is pretty not like outstanding, but he's got a lot of depth.
I mean, yeah, he's got 3 top 14 running backs, so
he's good.
Let's see. And I was about to.
Starters only.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of like. So I have a weird view on my computer of, I have the trade options up. It's every player on every roster in a column, and so I am trying to like browse through. Zach J. Penny.
Number 5.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I like Penny's team.
Herbert's in a really weird situation. That's the one thing I will say about him. So that's 3. What about Roush?
Number 9.
Okay. Yeah, he's got some.
His tight end 27 that he has to start is really bringing
him down.
Am I in the top 6?
You are number 6.
Ooh, that's a big step up.
Tight end 7.
Is tight end 7 Hawkinson?
Yeah.
Okay. I figured, but I just wanted to double check.
Gibbs and Richardson are.
I wouldn't. Oh, hold on, I got it.
Bless
Excuse
you.
me.
I mean, there's one team that has like the top 3 guys in redraft that you're
Well, that's-
missing.
And it's one of those things. I've got so many things in front of me that I'm staring at that I'm wondering who it is. Oh,
it's
is it David?
No, because
No.
he traded them all away.
You trade them all the way to this person that you've missed.
Who did you trade with?
Well, it's because this person doesn't have their starters correct, and so they're all on their bench.
Right.
Oh.
Drives me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's Waldrop.
No.
Is that who it is?
Nope.
All right,
Waldrop.
I'm sick of this game. Who we got?
Chase, Zach, Jordan, Josh, Penny,
Jordan.
and Mr. Edmondson.
I'm excited about my future, but I think a lot of that is probably weighted by the vet. How much is AR weighting that? Does it give you an idea?
Gibbs is your highest rated person.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta shed some quarterback. Pickett's not my ticket anymore, and I gotta get rid of Ritter.
Yeah, you can just drop them. You don't have to do any work. No one's gonna trade for
I
them. You can just drop them.
want to.
Okay.
So probably the biggest shakeup in our off season was Josh, right?
I mean, Josh finished 3rd to worst
Yep.
and is, I think, gonna make the playoffs.
So I guess one of the things that stopped me from calling him out is that his 3 QBs are
Yeah.
not.
But that's just how good the rest of his team is. That his quarterbacks are dog shit. But Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And then
Tyreek Hill.
I would've- My whole plan was to have David throw away all his players and then just trade for James Conner when that was the only guy left. But Josh got him as well. And
Yeah.
then Jamar Chase and Tyreek Hill. That's cool.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
And
he's
Mark
getting back.
Andrews.
And Evan Ingram,
Yeah.
who scores a lot of points.
It's not somebody I would trust to consistently do that, though. Like, I mean, he's
No.
been getting better, but yeah. And Andrews, I've been wondering if he'll be an interesting one to pay attention to in the next couple of years. I wonder if Baltimore holds on to him because of his injuries, and then also I got rid of him. I didn't want to get rid of him, but Isaiah Likely sitting behind Andrews is an interesting prospect who sat on my taxi for the last 2 years, and if he would still be on my roster if Hawkinson hadn't gotten hurt.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Andrews is top 5, at least top 3 tight end when healthy. I know he hasn't been healthy, but him and Lamar seem like they get along pretty well. So,
With tight end, talent is not the most important thing. It's if your quarterback thinks you're open.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
looks at you.
Exactly. But he is open a lot. I mean, to be fair. But yeah, so Josh's team is baller. He's just going all in. We'll see how it goes. He doesn't have any depth at all. But he might not need it. This one, we've seen from David's teams, Tyreek Hill plus CMC.
Yeah, David had 9 players. For
Yeah.
the last 2 years.
Yeah. It's like
He has to start 8 of them.
he had start 8 of them, and it still worked out. But David made some smart moves and made some great draft picks with the startup draft getting Amon-Ra was really, really helpful. And then
What I like about David is that he doesn't the most important thing to him in a trade is not winning the trade. It is like I'm gonna get the person that I want, and if I overpay by a little bit, I don't care.
yeah,
And then I'm going to make the championship 2 years in a row, and now I'm gonna have 4 picks in the first draft that I tanked for, and I got both of my picks back. So I think
Yeah.
he did really well,
yeah, he did.
and gets to gets to have a team that's worth paying attention to this year too, because you still have Amon-Ra, and then pick 5 now, and then the back half of the first round, I think.
So he's gonna get a bunch of interesting players and just see what happens. But yeah, he made some good moves. I'm surprised you didn't jump in on it, Lewis, and get some of his players and try to kickstart it. And they all went to Josh. Yeah, I'm just surprised you didn't get in on that. I just assumed you guys would talk a lot about trades, but maybe he wanted Josh's picks. So.
Well, it's pretty much like once I didn't like, because the Christian McCaffrey Tyreek Hill trade is just sitting there for everybody. It's just there.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, do you want to make the playoffs this year? Okay, go and trade for CMC and Tyreek Hill.
Right.
And so once that was off the table, I kind of decided to slow play a little bit more. Because every other running back that went, like you're guaranteed a year, and if you get 2, that's awesome, right?
That was a tough thing going into all the conversations I had with other managers about the running back market, especially when you're doing it as, there's to say get better value, you've got to do it early. But if you're doing that, then you're doing it before free agency, you're doing it before the draft, risking, I just gave a first round pick for X and there's a running back ahead of him now, or he's sharing a backfield. And
I was willing to give up a first for anyone just based on where my team is, because like if my draft picks turn out to be as good as like Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave were in their rookie year, then maybe I'd have a chance to make the playoffs. But it's not probable, no matter how talented they are, that they're gonna,
and even
score a lot of points.
Even a good rookie year for a prospect isn't really enough to necessarily make you a playoff push.
Yeah. And then everyone else above me made their teams better. So I wish I had my first next year still.
I'm just now realizing that Josh has 7 tight ends on roster.
Yeah.
It's a large block of orange.
Well, I mean, that just goes to what I was talking about. He doesn't have much depth at any position except tight end. I guess
7 out of the 13.
Yeah.
Tight end.
Yeah.
And 3 are quarterback.
And he's gonna start 2, right? I mean, he's gonna start Ingram and Andrews, or maybe he starts Charbonnet or Chase Brown.
Charbonnet is gonna be a weird one to rely on. I mean, he definitely had some moments in his rookie year, but is he going to get utilized enough to justify getting started?
But in Josh's world, all he has to do is start Christian McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill and Jamar Chase and hope they all play football that week. And
he's got Darnell Mooney.
He's got Mooney, who just got picked up by
Mooney
the
is
Falcons, right?
Jordan Addison type role for...
Yeah, I've lost faith in Mooney, to be honest, after watching the Bears. But the Bears are a poorly run organization, so or have been.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And I don't know. I kind of trust Kirk Cousins to get on the ball more than Fields.
It's true. It could happen more. But yeah, he just doesn't get open as much as you'd like, given his, he's not a big dude.
I just think they're going to be like 200 more pass attempts in the Falcons next year than there were in the Bears.
Yeah.
Or the Falcons last year. So
agreed.
There's going to be targets to go around. And people like Khalil Shakir, he's supposed to be... So who knows?
Maybe we talk about Mizbach for a minute.
Why? He didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything. And he's just running it back.
I think he went from the 5th pick last year to the 7th pick this year. So he's going to go back to the 5th pick next year.
the annual pick a player and see what happens. And what,
and I don't know. Maybe he doesn't. I mean, does he get the production at Jefferson that he historically has gotten?
I don't know, but
Jefferson scored like 40 points with Josh Dobbs last year. I think Jefferson's going to be okay.
Yeah. Kyler, he'll get to actually play him this year, so that'll be helpful. Jonathan Taylor's still good. Zay Flowers, I think, is good, but maybe not like who knows what he is for fantasy if he's going to be like that elite tier. Jerome Ford was pretty good last year. So he's got some running backs. Singletary signing with the Giants, not exciting. Definitely one of those we skipped over for free agency. Saquon made a lot out of nothing.
Yeah,
I'm not
they
sure.
have so many holes, they probably can't afford to draft a running back.
Yeah, I mean, so Singletary's going to get the volume. He's
He's going to get 2 yards per carry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, coaches love him, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Is Daniel Jones technically still their starter?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. A lot of rumors about him, not being the starter. A lot of rumors about drafting.
I'd be interested to see if
QB.
Daniel Jones has a higher average yard per carry than Singletary. He got like 700 rushing yards 2 seasons ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
All right. Let's talk about some other people, though. We haven't hit Roush at all, really. I mean, so let's talk about Roush's team. So he gets Saquon. He figures out his running back room a little bit. He has Najee still.
I think Najee should be better than he was the last 2 years.
Unless Warren undercuts him even more.
Yeah, but I mean, the Steelers are going to run the ball a lot. I think
they're going to run the ball a lot with
volume.
Whoever they have at quarterback, because
they have quarterbacks that are better than Kenny Pickett.
They have quarterbacks that are better than Kenny Pickett, better than Mitch Trubisky, better than Mason Rudolph. So big upgrade for them in that department. But they might draft a wide receiver.
Smith is going to
force feed the ball.
Yeah.
I do count 3 running backs that he could just go ahead and cut right now.
Yeah, but you think you're going to trade Desmond Ridder. All right.
I mean, I'm gonna cut him. I just don't want to admit it.
Yeah, so but he's also got Gus and Madison sitting on his bench that could be helpful.
Roush is still trying to find a tight end, though.
He is, yeah. I don't think that's going to hold him back necessarily. I just think, so he's got Saquon and he's got Burrow. He needs Waddle and Higgins to take a step forward to be competitive. I think that's his big piece there. If they can go back to being elite wide receiver 2s, then I think he has got a good shot. A good shot as anybody. But I mean, his flexes, Addison, you're not as excited about Addison this year with whoever's throwing him the ball, unless something majorly changes. Judy, I've bashed enough on the group chat, but
it'd go flex Kamara.
He'll probably. Oh, yeah, that's true. I totally.
Kamara and Hopkins too, right?
Kamara and Hopkins.
So surely trade a first to actually play them.
Yeah. So those guys will play. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Kamara and Hopkins will take him to another level. Hopkins sharing with Ridley.
I agree it's going to be another level, but I think making the playoffs is going to be a lot harder this year than it has the last 2 years.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be tough.
Year 1 at the end, there were 7 people trying to make the playoffs. Year 2, 8 teams that were good enough to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe less than that. Maybe only 6.
Yeah, it felt pretty set in stone after towards the end of the year.
Especially Penny had injuries, and so I think the 6 were pretty much set very early, and now there's 9 teams that aren't that far away from each other.
Yep.
I don't know if we're getting an 11-12 win team again this year.
Yeah. That was me last year. Just want to throw that out there. No big deal.
It's going to take a player I could, I'm not saying he will, but if Richardson went on a tear for me, it would take something like that for a team, I think, to hit a benchmark of that many wins. Hurts getting back into form, something like that.
Yeah, Chase could just steamroll. I mean, he could just have the same production from these guys, and Kelsey could be a real thing. We could all just be in
Williams
trouble.
Keeps it together, and Hurts sees any improvement in that offense, he's going to be really tough to beat.
But I guess kudos to Roush for building his team. You know, trying to put something together. We'll see what happens. Anything could happen. We could get back to prime Hopkins. Who knows? Maybe that offense will click and he'll be a big part of it, or maybe Waddle takes a step forward. I don't know, but Burrow playing the whole year would be nice and helpful for him and Higgins if Higgins does end up.
But that's the trade that I think Bryce could have missed out on. Like, if Bryce was going to trade anyone, doing that deal, I think that's when he's missed on by passing.
What does he?
I don't think.
What do you mean?
Well, instead of Roush trading with Matt, I think it would have been better for him if he traded for Bryce's players, from Roush's perspective.
Yeah, because like the Kamara Hopkins is a lot less exciting than a lot of players on Bryce's team. And for Roush, you're saying like from Roush's perspective, or for
yes,
yeah.
From Roush's perspective. Well, and then like you made a trade. Then the team that was going to be the second worst is now going to be the worst, whereas you could have also taken out a team that was going to be better than you.
Yeah. So, should be interesting for him.
Am I the only one who missed Joshua Dobbs signing with San Francisco?
Maybe.
I mean, probably not. But I don't
I'm looking around the team, and just there he is.
Yeah, I didn't know that. It's okay. I remember thinking this because Kyle Shanahan is just gonna tell anyone that comes up to him, no, we've got Trey Lance at home. Trey Lance. We've got Trey Lance at home.
I saw rumors of Zach Wilson going there and like trading for Zach Wilson or signing him. I don't know if they even have to trade him. He's a free agent, I guess, maybe, right? No, he has one more year left.
Yeah, they authorized him to look for a trade. That's one of those deals. I don't think you see it in the NFL, but I know in like in Major League Baseball, like you'll see trades with contingencies. Like it's like Moneyball. Like I need you to pay for soda in my machines for the rest of the year. That's what gets Zach Wilson.
That's what gets you Zach Wilson.
Stock your vending machines for a year.
Oop. I don't know what's happened to my camera, but it is lost focus.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. What other teams do you guys want to talk about?
So is Eddie not going to get the first pick next year?
I think he will. I think
Does he own it?
Yeah, he owns his first. But is CJ Stroud going to outscore all of Matt's team?
Yeah. No,
I mean, maybe that is that a rebuilding strategy? All right, I need to get rid of CJ Stroud. Who needs a quarterback?
That's not a rebuilding strategy. You just picked up a great piece for your rebuild with CJ Stroud. You keep him, or you trade him for a ton of firsts. And
is he a great piece or is he a good piece?
If he was a running back, Eddie should trade him. He's a quarterback.
Is he consistently going to throw enough touchdowns?
I don't know. If you offered 104, I would trade for CJ. I would trade away CJ Stroud for 104.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that now, but yeah.
And I'm not saying I don't like CJ Stroud. I'm just, if your team needs a lot of work, just sitting on him would be a hindrance more so than.
I mean, you have to start 8 players.
You do have to start 8 players, but Eddie also got rid of every draft pick he had at one point.
I don't think next year. I don't think there's going to be that much difference between 101 and 102.
I know zero about next year's class, other than I think the running backs are supposed to be decent.
Mm-hmm.
Running backs are better.
All I know.
Okay. It's a fun thought experiment, but I'm not trading CJ Stroud if I'm Eddie with that depleted team. I'm keeping him.
I agree.
Because
unless you offer me 104.
Like, if someone offers the moon, yeah, if you like Brock Bowers or Odunze or even Brian Thomas Jr., like whoever gets like the awesome landing spot. If you like one of those guys better, that's fine. Stroud's pretty amazing, or has been amazing. He's shown it for 1 year. If you want to make a bet that like you like the talent better at the other spots, I'm okay with that. But
what would you? So say you still had 105 and you didn't have Dak, and you were thinking about trading for CJ Stroud. Would you trade 105 for Joe Burrow?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty. That's a good question. I like Stroud better.
Because that's how I've talked myself into, like, I'm not gonna take Caleb Williams at 3 because I wouldn't trade 103 for Joe Burrow. So why should I take a quarterback at 103?
Right.
That was my thinking.
Especially one that hasn't thrown a pass yet.
True. But he looks set up for success, so
I would not be surprised if he's a bust. Like, I know everybody talks, and it's not because it's necessarily it's on the field play. It's all the little things going on around him that would have me worried as a franchise to draft him. Not saying he's not talented or anything like that. I just when you start trying to circumvent the collective bargaining agreement or asking franchises for a percentage before you've ever,
I don't know. I mean, Eli just straight up forced someone to trade away the pick.
Forcing a trade is different.
I mean, no, I think I'd rather have, I don't know, I'd rather deal with Caleb Williams' dad than Archie Manning.
I don't know.
I don't care about all that stuff. All I care about is like what does the player look like, and he looks good.
He looked okay this year. He looked much better the year before.
Yeah, I feel like the like he can't play in structure stuff is so overblown. I think he can.
I mean, his offensive coordinator was Cliff Kingsbury. The structure was probably terrible.
Yeah, and he can make normal throws. He's not always like running out of the pocket, doing his Caleb magic.
And also, their defense gave up like 50 points a game.
He had to score a ton, to even be competitive. I mean, the draft will tell us. Hopefully, he's number one, and we'll see what how it goes. But you can't think of a better situation for a QB, like I was saying before, a rookie QB. Throwing to Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, so and Komet. Swift, I'm not as excited about there.
But he's good at catching passes.
He's good at catching passes. The offensive line
than he has a running back.
Their line is good for blocking, or I mean, for run blocking, pass blocking has been a little shaky for years. But is that Justin Fields' fault?
I'm not bashing Justin Fields, but you might not have to hold up as long with Caleb Williams as you did with Justin.
Exactly. So things might change pretty drastically. So
I'd start doing cardio if I'm a Steelers lineman, though, because you're gonna have to work a lot with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. You're gonna have to hold up for like 10 seconds every play.
How many years was Swift in Philadelphia?
One.
Just the one?
Yeah.
Who was his last offensive coordinator in Detroit?
He would have had, what's his name, Ben Johnson for a year.
Okay. Because that was one thing I was kind of thinking about is, was he just improperly used when I'm thinking about how Detroit used Gibbs. And it felt like that was always what they wanted to do with Swift, but just never did.
Well, he stayed healthy last year, too. He was just unhealthy a lot in Detroit.
Well, in Philadelphia also, that whole offense was dysfunctional.
Yeah. Well, I think Swift averaged like 3.5 yards before contact last year. So I'm pretty excited about Saquon.
Yeah.
Saquon's the knock against Saquon is that he's either going to get -2 yards or 60 yards. And if his offensive line doesn't let him get -2 yards, I think he could be really good next year.
Yeah, the knock has always been like he dances behind the line, and that's not going to be a thing anymore. He won't have to. Well, we'll see. But I think he'll do well. Trying to think of anything else we want to talk about. What what else has been on your mind, Matt?
Oh, I just do look at mock drafts all the time.
I'm excited for your 3 picks for you. I think it's a great draft to have the top 3 picks.
Have you been doing any sleeper mocks yet? Have you started that?
I got
addiction?
burned last year. I'm not gonna do that this year. I got fully convinced that Puka Nakua was gonna be there at 401, and I was like, I'm not worried about it. I liked him a lot. I should have just taken him in the second round. I was like, no, he's always there for me. 401 every single time. So I'm not doing that this year. I'm just not.
You went like 3-9
He went
or
314.
something like
No, you went 314. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
3-9?
Yeah. Did I have 3-6? Yeah. Did I have 3-4? Yeah. But that's fine. It's fine.
Hey, I made some mistakes in the second round in retrospect.
You almost saved me for my mistakes in the second round by offering.
I'm trying to find past drafts on our. I can
Yeah,
do
you
it
have
on
to
the
go-
app, but
You
on
have
the
to go into
computer.
last year's league. So go to settings and then go to last year's league, and then you can look at the draft.
Yeah. I was pretty sold on Spears. I think one of the things that I'm looking back on is just like not caring too much about position in the draft. I think is important. Like what you're just like believing in the player and drafting him. If you like him, it feels a little better to do it that way, and not just picking
Yeah.
for position.
Yeah, but then you end up with Sean Tucker and Zach Evans. So
That's-
I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
Everybody thought Sean Tucker was going to be great.
But
Wow. I still think he's. I don't know.
So I had
Zach Evans still rostered.
Yes.
Yes, he's still rostered.
Yes.
So last year I had the 203 and the 204 going into the draft. And then I was like, I'm getting Spears with one of these picks. So my first pick, I picked him. And I was like, oh, I could take Laporta.
I don't know why you didn't take. I that's why I traded away 208 because I just assumed you were taking Laporta at 204.
Oh man, 208.
And then
That's
I was like, oh, I took Dalton Kincaid. I don't need to take Laporta too. Like, I think you just take the player that you like and you go with it and see what happens. Hope they turn out well. Like,
Yeah,
I think they
because
will.
we're not playing these players until September anyway, so you got plenty of time to
Yeah.
sort your roster out later.
I think my goal for this draft is to not draft a Denver Bronco. I like Marvin Mims,
Well,
but I'm looking back.
I mean, I really
taking
think
him at
you're going to be
2.2.
fine.
Yeah, I can't think of a reason why you worry about that. They're not gonna.
You pick. Oh, I mean, you got to replace Ritter and Pickett now. You can go with Bo Nix.
Oof.
I've got to decide what to do at 106.
I don't know. Bo Nix is handsome, which is a pretty good marker for a good quarterback. I
That's
didn't realize how handsome he was. So I saw
Bo
a
Nix
picture.
has spent 5-6 years in college.
6. But if you just ignored Auburn, you would think he was good. If he just never played at Auburn, like if he just sat the whole year and then just played at Oregon, his stock would be a lot higher.
I'm fairly certain I've seen him play live while he was at Auburn and didn't sit well.
all right. Predictions now. I need one prediction from you guys.
What type of prediction are you looking for?
Waldrop, does he make the playoffs or not?
Now I got to go back.
If Chubb is healthy, I think he's got a decent shot.
Yeah. I mean,
Chubb
He's
is
gonna
his
have a
only
full
running back.
lineup.
His only running back. He's got the 213. He's got Jeff Wilson.
So he's gonna have hopefully a healthy Chubb and Will Shipley.
Yep.
He's
Yeah,
gonna
so
go to
like-
war.
I was going to say, who's his second running back?
And then he's got 4 firsts to
good.
work with, right? So he's got
No, I
3.
think it's just 3.
He has 3 right now.
27.
But then he'll have his 27 one that will definitely be on the table. It's pretty quickly. So
I say he doesn't do it.
I
So-
don't think he trades a first for a running back this year.
he probably won't after getting burned.
Well, and also because just not having one spot that's completely not scoring you points allows you to have better players on your team and still end up with he's going to have a top 6 pick, I would guess, next year if he doesn't fiddle with his team. And I think he could jettison older players if he wanted to.
I mean, he picked up Devontae. That kind of signals like
that part was interesting.
I'm ready to win now. I think that's the only thing to me. It's like he's gonna do something. I think he's itching to be competitive again. I don't think it sits well with him when he's not. So
that's his whole mantra, is just constantly wait or leverage against the future.
Yeah,
I think he's in a much better spot now to do what he'd been doing the last 2 years.
and hopefully he doesn't trade 3 firsts for a single player, but he could if he wanted to. All right. Well, I think we hit a lot of things. That was fun.
We should do this more often. What was the first pod since like
Beginning of the year last year.
Yeah, looking back in the channel, I think April of last year I was on one.
It's been a long time. So yeah, we could definitely do this more often. Appreciate it, guys. And we'll call it a